team is programmed and studied to stop Jayson and Jay. I think everybody's how important to make those guys try to pass the ball. They don't want to pass the ball.
This was a moment the fuse was lit. Marcus Smart openly blasted Jayson Tatum for playing selfish basketball, and now newly surfaced heated footage suggests the tension only got worse. Tatum later spoke out, admitting the fallout wasn't just about losing game, but losing a brotherhood, hinting that whatever bond they once had didn't survive. Fans are shocked by the alleged fight clip between Smart and Tatum. But those paying attention saw the cracks long ago, with the biggest flashpoint coming. After a brutal 128-114 collapse against the Bulls in November 2021.
A significant flashpoint came during what should have been a routine post-game press conference following a devastating loss.
The moment was explosive. The words hit harder than a missed shot, and everyone in the basketball world instantly knew this wasn't some harmless critique. This was a veteran leader straight up putting his franchise stars on blast in public, crossing a line that most players would never dare touch, and that's exactly why it shook the team to its core.
So much I could do without the ball in my hands. I just sit and stand in the corner. When we run in plays for our best players, every team knows that. They do a good job of shutting that down.
The fallout was instant. Tatum finally spoke on November 7th after a loss to the Mavericks, admitting Smart's comments caught him off guard, but claiming they had handled it privately in a team meeting. Still, his
team is programmed and studied to stop Jayson and Jay. I think everybody's how important to make those guys try to pass the ball.
Maybe the most infamous moment came on March 16th, 2022, when Marcus Smart dove for a loose ball and rolled straight into Steph Curry's legs, leaving Curry sidelined for weeks. Warriors coach Steve Kerr went off, blasting the play as dangerous and dirty, while Smart insisted it was just hustle. Yet in Golden State, he instantly became public enemy number one heading into the finals. And that wasn't an isolated case. Smart has been ejected over 10 times, piling up more than $300,000 in fines for everything from shoving J.R. Smith in a preseason game to charging at DeAndre Bembry in 2019. Even before the NBA, Smart made headlines when he shoved a Texas Tech fan in college after allegedly being called a racial slur, an incident that cost him a suspension but also shined a light on the ugly reality of racism in sports. Later, in his own Players Tribune article, Smart revealed he'd been hit with racial abuse even in NBA arenas, and Kyrie Irving himself confirmed Boston had a problem. No wonder Smart's reactions toward fans sometimes boiled over. His career has always been as controversial off the court as it was fiery on it. Tatum's controversies may be fewer, but they hit right at his reputation. In the 2024 NBA Finals, the spotlight turned brutal when Jaylen Brown walked away with Finals MVP, snagging 7 of the 11 media votes, while Tatum only got 4. And here's the kicker. Tatum actually led the series in points with 22.2 per game, rebounds with 7.8, and assists with 7.2, compared to Brown's 20.8, 5.4, and 5.0. On paper, Tatum looked like the guy, but the voters didn't see it that way. The snub lit a firestorm of debate, fueling questions about whether Tatum truly shows up when it matters most, or if Brown was simply the one who won the final spotlight when the Celtics needed it.
This is Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics. You may be thinking, what do I want to hear from Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics? Well, that team has been losing, and they have two.
During the 2024 Paris Olympics, shockwaves hit when Team USA coach Steve Kerr benched Jayson Tatum, not once, but twice, including a crucial game against Serbia. This, despite Tatum being fresh off an NBA title and owning All-NBA first-team honors. The move drew widespread backlash and left an awkward shadow hanging over Tatum heading into the next season. Then in January 2025, former NBA guard Brandon Jennings torched him on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, labeling Tatum the softest Celtic superstar ever. Tatum clapped back on Instagram with a laughing emoji and the caption, "Softest superstar in Celtic history," but the sting stuck. The criticism only reinforced a narrative that's followed him for years. A superstar whose calm, measured leadership contrasts sharply with Marcus Smart's fiery, confrontational edge. Where Smart thrived on holding everyone accountable, even if it meant calling out stars, Tatum's quiet approach sometimes made people question if he had the ruthless killer instinct that defines champions. Their dynamic was always a coin flip, clashed destructively, or combined powerfully. Tatum has always leaned on calm, diplomatic leadership, while Marcus Smart thrived on confrontation and accountability, and over the years those differences kept boiling beneath the surface. Every playoff collapse, every missed chance, only magnified the cracks in their so-called brotherhood. That tension finally exploded when Smart shocked the NBA world on July 22, 2025, by signing a 2-year deal with Los Angeles Lakers after his Wizards buyout. This wasn't just another signing. This was a Celtics icon and former Defensive Player of the Year crossing enemy lines to join Boston's biggest rival. The move instantly set the stage for a heated narrative. Had the bond between Tatum and Smart quietly broken down? And is this the start of a rivalry that could define the next chapter of their careers? Marcus Smart's road to Los Angeles was anything but smooth. After nearly a decade in Celtic green, he was shipped to the Memphis Grizzlies in 2023, then bounced to the Washington Wizards in 2024. Nagging injuries kept him to just 20 games in the 2024-25 season, eventually forcing a buyout. But it wasn't the move itself that shook the basketball world. It was why he chose the Lakers. Smart didn't just pick any team. He picked Boston's most hated rival, and his explanation for wearing purple and gold instantly set off debates about loyalty, legacy, and whether this was a direct shot at his old running mate Jayson Tatum.
I know everybody's expecting me to be up here, be salty and shit, but
I know you ain't salty.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody's probably expecting, but
I would tell you how I would have been. Congratulations.
6. At his introductory press conference, Smart made it clear this wasn't just another stop in his career. He called the Lakers a team with no ceiling, saying he was motivated, hungry, and itching to prove himself on basketball's biggest stage.
And I get a call from my agent saying, hey, Lucas reached out. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. All right. And then another day, same thing, Lucas reached out again. And now it's real. It's no longer what ifs. It's real, and it's something we need to talk about. And that was a great feeling, like I said, and that's kind of what got the things going for me to be here, and I'm excited to be.
The veteran guard revealed that Luka Doncic's personal recruiting pitch played a huge role in his decision, admitting that the superstar's direct outreach meant a lot. With LeBron James, Donny, and new additions like DeAndre Ayton and Jake LaRavia, the Lakers roster embodied exactly what Smart had been chasing his whole career, a ready-made championship contender with the firepower to win now.
don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a bittersweet feeling.
Congratulations, boy. God damn.
This shit, but it was definitely tough because, like I said, I was in them trenches with him. So to be able not to finish what you started with those guys is definitely.
The basketball analytics community immediately recognized the strategic brilliance of the move. ESPN's Kendrick Perkins even declared it a better acquisition than the Clippers' Bradley Beal trade, pointing to Smart's value as a point-of-attack defender reminiscent of Alex Caruso's impact in Los Angeles. The Caruso comparison carried weight, another defensive specialist who thrived in purple and gold before earning a major contract elsewhere. With 3 all-defensive first-team selections and a reputation as a culture changer, Smart fit the exact veteran blueprint championship teams covered for Lakers fans, though the signing meant more than just numbers and accolades. Social media lit up a projected lineups, many envisioning Smart alongside Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and DeAndre Ayton, with Rui Hachimura anchoring the bench. One viral post summed it up bluntly: with this 5, everything else figures itself out. The excitement carried shades of nostalgia too, with comparisons to Derek Fisher's physical edge, while others called it the sneakiest move of free agency, the kind of under-the-radar addition that often separate contenders from pretenders.in Boston. However, the reaction was far less celebratory. Smart wasn't just a player. He was the emotional heartbeat of the Celtics for nearly a decade. His decision to don purple and gold cut deeper because of the rivalry's history. From Magic and Bird to Pierce and Kobe, Celtics, Lakers isn't just basketball, it's legacy. For many in Boston, Smart crossing enemy lines felt like a betrayal, a wound reopened in a rivalry defined by loyalty, pride, and championships. And now, this latest chapter seems to be writing itself with Smart at the center. The defensive stalwart wasn't naive about the reception awaiting him. In fact, he addressed it head-on, admitting he expected a lot of boos and hate from Boston, but understood why. That level of self-awareness underscored just how deeply Smart understood his bond with Celtics fans, and how sharply his move to their greatest rival would cut. Industry voices quickly weighed in, almost unanimously praising the Lakers' maneuvering. For a franchise reeling from postseason disappointment, adding Smart wasn't just about defense. It was about leadership, toughness, and championship credibility. The timing was perfect, and the fit undeniable. Even Bill Simmons, perhaps the Celtics' loudest voice, was left rattled, summing up his disbelief with just 6 words: When the most diehard Celtic supporter is left speechless, the move clearly carries seismic implications. And at the heart of those implications lies one of the most fascinating relationships in recent NBA history, Marcus Smart and Jayson Tatum. What started as mentorship evolved into brotherhood, endured public criticism and locker room tension, survived a shocking trade, and now stands fractured by rival uniforms and competing championship visions. From 2017 to 2023, they were inseparable pillars of Boston's playoff runs, including the 2022 NBA Finals. Smart, drafted in 2014, had already established himself as the Celtics' emotional heartbeat by the time Tatum arrived as a third overall pick in 2017. Together they embodied Boston's modern identity, Smart the fiery soul, Tatum the rising superstar. Now, for the first time, that brotherhood is tested not by setbacks within the same locker room, but by the weight of rivalry across enemy lines. The foundation of their relationship was built on shared struggles and mutual respect, with Smart often praising Tatum's growth, while Tatum credited Smart's relentless intensity for pushing the team to higher standards. In interviews, Smart frequently referred to Tatum and Jaylen Brown as brothers, a bond forged through playoff heartbreaks, grueling battles, and the highs and lows of chasing a championship together. That connection extended beyond basketball, highlighted by personal milestones such as Tatum's presence at Smart's wedding in 2023, a moment that underscored the depth of their brotherhood both on and off the court.
Man, shit. My wife would tell you I was screaming for those guys when they won it just as much as anybody else because, like I said, I have love for those guys and I know the work that they...
But even the strongest relationships face tests. And for Smart and Tatum, the breaking point came on June 22, 2023, when the Celtics shocked the NBA by trading Smart to the Grizzlies in a 3-team deal to acquire Kristaps Porzingis. Completely blindsided after being assured he was safe from trade talks, Smart learned of the move through a late-night phone call, a gut punch after 9 years of loyalty and sacrifice. The trade signaled Boston's decision to fully prioritize the Tatum-Brown duo, with Porzingis proving to be the missing piece that helped deliver the Celtics a 2024 championship, their first without Smart. Though he reacted graciously, publicly congratulating his former teammates and praising their growth, the sight of Boston celebrating a title without him undoubtedly stung for the veteran who had poured his heart and soul into the franchise.
I think we all are. I can't stress it enough. Y'all know what it feels like to get to the finals and not finish the job. That was like the worst feeling ever. And then the whole summer, all we had to do was hear about it, half the people said, well, y'all play hard, y'all, did y'all thing. The other people were like, y'all couldn't get.
Their first encounters as opponents highlighted both the depth of their bond and the inevitability of their rivalry, beginning with an emotional February 2024 matchup between the Celtics and Grizzlies where Smart received a tribute video, a standing ovation, and even louder cheers at Tatum's urging, before Tatum himself called him the ultimate Celtic and Smart laugh about his early tensions with Brown, reaffirming their brotherhood. Yet by December 2024, the competitive fire had taken over as Smart drew a classic offensive foul on Tatum, planting his feet, absorbing contact, and celebrating with vintage flair, prompting Tatum to admit how surreal it felt not being teammates anymore. Now, with Smart joining the Lakers, their relationship enters its ultimate test, as his move to Los Angeles symbolizes not just a new chapter, but an embrace of the Celtics' greatest historical rival, where purple and gold stand as the eternal counter to green and white, steeped in legacies, traditions, and championship battles that transcend basketball. As these former brothers prepare to clash on a stage where every possession will carry extra weight, the NBA world eagerly awaits to see whether their bond can withstand the ultimate trial of professional rivalry. And to understand the magnitude of this moment, one must consider the journeys that shaped them. Smart, a fiery Texas native whose defensive tenacity and leadership were evident early at Oklahoma State from 2012 to 2014, where both praise and controversy, including the infamous shove of a fan after an alleged racial slur, marked his college years, was still impressive enough to become the Celtics' 6th overall pick in 2014, immediately embracing the weight of Boston tradition while building a professional resume defined by grit, accolades, and the ability to maximize every ounce of his talent through sheer determination. Marcus Smart's career was defined less by numbers and more by his relentless impact as the emotional heartbeat of every team he played for, with accolades including the 2022 NBA Defensive Player of the Year award, 3 All-Defensive First-Team selections, and 1 All-Star appearance, while his 9-year Boston tenure from 2014 to 2023 saw him average 10.2 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 4.8 assists across 572 games, embodying grit through loose ball dives, charges, leadership, and accountability that statistics could never capture. His DPOY award, making him the first guard since Gary Payton in 1996 to win it, cemented his reputation as a defensive quarterback who elevated everyone around him. Beyond the court, his 2023 marriage to Mesa Hall, attended by Celtics teammates including Jayson Tatum, symbolizes loyalty, while his consistent activism on racial justice issues reflected the same courage that defined his play. After a shocking 2023 trade to Memphis, Smart battled injuries and constant team changes, playing for the Grizzlies, Wizards, and Lakers in 3 years, yet maintained professionalism and continued to contribute to winning basketball. In contrast, Jayson Tatum's rise followed a more traditional superstar trajectory, emerging as a top prospect at Chaminade Prep in St. Louis before starring at Duke, where he averaged 16.8 points and 7.3 rebounds in his lone season under Mike Krzyzewski, helping the Blue Devils to an ACC tournament title. Drafted 3rd overall by Boston in 2017, Tatum immediately showcased his versatility and scoring prowess, nearly carrying the Celtics to the finals as a rookie. Since then, he has built a resume befitting an all-time great, with 6 All-Star selections, 4 All-NBA first-team honors, over 13,000 points and 4,000 rebounds before age 27, joining historic company with LeBron James and Wilt Chamberlain, and culminating in his first NBA championship in 2024, a validation of his rapid ascent into superstardom.